Hang on. That should fix it. You hear me now, Rob? Hello, everybody. I'm sorry for the hiccups. This is our first time doing this. No audible. Yeah, I think we fixed that. So hello everybody and welcome to Mystic Arts. My name is Daði. I'm a professional writer and director and I've been doing this, I've been DMing for over 10 years. It's just going to be me here at the start for a little bit, and then AB, who's at the movies, is going to come along and join, and she'll be here asking or answering some of the questions as well. Oh my god, there are so many people. Good God. Jesus Christ. We were going to start with questions from some members. So anybody who's a channel member is able to ask questions first, and we've got a bunch of them compiled here. And let me go have a look at them. We're also streaming on account of the fact that this is we reached 20,000 members on the YouTube channel in a couple of months, which is just, frankly, it's insane. So we're kind of blown away, and you know we're still figuring out how any of this works, and I'm honestly kind of lost at sea. So I hope all of you are able to take a deep breath along with me, and we'll be figuring out how this YouTube stuff works together and the streaming stuff. So I'm just going to start answering questions immediately because I'm currently not able to keep up with chat. Hey Pilgrim, welcome. You're a member. Good job. Oh my god. All right. So that Rob Human, who was the first to join our channel memberships, asks if you were to produce a 5e compat supplement, one geared towards DMs and not players, and not a campaign setting, what feature would it pivot around? What gap in existing utility supplements would you try to fill? I wrote down some of these beforehand, so I'm having a little look at them now. The answer is industrialization. I am fascinated by the idea of the creatures of D&D and whatever existing in an industrialized world. Eberron appeals to me a lot in this way, but the industrialization in Eberron is sort of intricately tied with magic. I like the idea of these two being polar opposites. So there is industry and technology and firearms, and then the opposite spectrum of that, there's magic. So the idea is that they kind of bounce around each other. So that's something that I would really like to do, and that's where my campaign setting, and I run games in an 18th century sort of city, and I would love to delve into that at some point. Algoran asks, as an older DM, I've found that things I homebrewed 30 years ago have morphed into canon in my mind. What are some of the most important rules that you have misremembered or forgotten? Sorry, let me put my glasses away. I was running a session literally a couple of days ago, and I realized that I didn't know, and I never looked at the rules for identifying a spell when it was cast. If something came up, somebody cast a spell, they didn't see the caster, but they saw the point of origin. They were wondering if they could identify the spell as a reaction. And I said, sure, but well, probably not, you can't see the caster. So we looked up the rules, and it turns out the DC is 15 plus the level of the spell, not 10 plus the level of the spell. I assume that's something from back when I was running Pathfinder, and it just got lodged in my head, and I've been doing it wrong ever since. I also never remember the conditions. I have to always look at them. I have no idea what any of the conditions do in D&D. Not a clue. Martin108 asks, how do you track the passage of time in the game world? Do you use a calendar? Yes, I have a calendar that I made for my setting. It's a handout. I give it to my players, and the players use it to mark down deadlines or quests that they need to do by a certain point, or anything like that. They also write down their birthdays on it or important events, and then they all have their own version of the handout they can look back on and remind themselves of where they're at. Martin also asked, as a DM, when do you know when it's time to end the day and offer your player characters a chance to sleep? Do they need to consume food as a part of their sleep? Yeah, they gotta eat. I don't know. I don't know about the rest. They just go to sleep when the day's over. If when it's dark, and I sometimes I have to tell them. I have to tell them, listen, it's the middle of the night. If you don't go to sleep, you have to make exhaustion checks or something. We got a super thanks over here. Oh my god. Wow, thank you so much, epic name. That is an epic name. Wow, this is great. We got a couple of more channel members. Matt Without Fear, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome everybody. I'll scroll through chat in a minute and see the questions there. I want to make sure that I get the members. Oh my god. Sorry, I'm still getting used to all this. DM Todd asks, I've been running 5e games for over 4 years. I find it difficult to transition from exploration to combat in some scenarios. I know there are encounter distance tables. Yeah. For me, this all comes down to when you roll initiative. So if the intention of your combat is that you want to terrify your players, you want them to perk up, you want them to realize this is a dangerous scenario, well, then you're talking about an ambush. If they see the monster, they should have a chance to sneak up on the monster, and then you're talking about a targeted strike. In the instance where both of them show up at the same time and they're sort of barreling towards each other, Todd asks about, do you let them do several rounds of initiative? Yeah, I think that's only fair. Let's see. Sigurd Peter asks, do you have any tip? This is an Icelandic. This is an Icelandic name. I can pronounce that one. All the others were so complicated. Todd really tripped me up. Do you have any tips on creating pantheons of gods or clerics? For clerics or paladins, is there any source material that has them already in there? Yeah, there are gods. Well, there used to be gods in the player's handbook. I don't think there are anymore. I think they cut them. But you don't need to listen. Peter, you don't need to make all the gods. Just make a couple and make enough for your players to get started. That's all. And you can make up the rest as you go along. If you want to, you could try to look up the Dawn War Pantheon. That was a thing they made for 4th edition, and Matt Mercer sort of resurrected it with Exandria. That's a list of, I think, like 20 gods. It's a smaller number. It's easier to keep in your head. And they all have like domains and symbols and names associated with them, so you could have a good look at that. Cosmo, this is the last of the members only questions I'm going to get to before I'm going to have a look at chat. But there are some more in here that I might check out if we run out, but I wanted to get the first of all of them. What's it like, Cosmo asks, what's it like playing in the hobby in Iceland? None of the source books are published in Icelandic. Granted, you both speak fluent English, me and my girlfriend, I assume. But does it make it difficult for others in your local community? Do the friendly local game stores come fully stocked? Are dice rolls affected by local volcanic activity? No. Our volcanoes are frequent at the moment, but they are very nice. They have gentle eruptions, which means that they sort of bubble over at a leisurely rate. If you're interested in Icelandic volcanic activity, we are entering a new volcanic period. So volcanoes are erupting on the Reykjanes, and they're going to continue erupting probably until I die. Geology moves at a different time scale than the rest of us. None of the source books are in Icelandic, that is correct. Icelanders, by and large, are very good at English. We were cordially annexed by the British, and we were occupied by the Americans, and there was a time where there were 50% of, or the population of fighting age American soldiers in Iceland were 50%, made up 50% of the population, or something like that, or were equal to 50% of the population. So there's a lot of overlap there. The first radio station and television station were in Icelandic. We're in English. There were American radio and television stations. And the nerds want to look at nerd stuff. So what happens is that they have to go read the English books. So all the nerds are really good at English, typically. That's just how it is here. Yeah. So that doesn't really affect us. We do have a really good, friendly local game store. It's just one. It's a small country, but it is really good. It's called Nexus, and it's massive. It hosts an annual nerd convention called Midgard, and it's lovely. I've been there both times. Okay, Magnus became a member. Magnus is a player in my group. Everybody say hi. He wanted his name to become green. He's now giving me money. That's weird. He was in. I celebrated New Year's with that man, and okay, whatever. He's just giving you, whatever. Congratulations, Magnus. Welcome along. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to really quickly scroll to the top of chat here, and I'm going to see some questions. Biomeditator. Question: do you know the board game Risk? Yes. Sorry, we got fireworks going off. In Iceland, people are allowed to buy and blow up their own fireworks, so that's what happens. Wouldn't it be cool to integrate a large-scale fiction or world Risk-style world domination board game into the D&D campaign? Biomeditator, that sounds awesome. That's like a mega game. We are currently in the process, me and Magnus, who just became a channel member, are currently in the process of making one of those for ourselves, for a group. And there are like 25 players in that thing, and we're going to run basically a war scenario, and it is going to have an effect on my D&D campaign going forward. It's a lot of work, and I'll probably want to make a YouTube video about that at some point. Rhombus asks, I used YouTube Music Premium. Got any suggestions for good D&D music? The Skyrim music is getting a bit stale. Yeah, hang on. Let's have a look at Brian Davis. As I mentioned in the video, I'm a big fan of Brian Davis. And he has great taste. The movie Black Mass has some really good ambient ones. I say in the video, don't use movie music. I think Black Mass is the exception. So is How to Train Your Dragon. That's fantastic. Otherwise, what you're going to want to check out is Sorastro. Sorry, that's the author. The game is Oracle. Other than that, there's also a Pathfinder Adventures music playlist you can get into, and a D&D one. But I really recommend Oracle by Sorastro. No sound, hang on. I'm sorry if I miss your question. I'm just going to scroll through here and make sure I catch up. Hi Daði, I'm currently in the process of planning my first campaign, and I don't know how to populate the world to give the players options for character creation. Love your videos. Well, if you're just starting out, what I would recommend doing is just go and let your players look at the player's handbook and decide what they want to make from there. And then you have to figure out what those people are in your world. So if somebody says, I want to be a Goliath, you can then try and think, okay, do we have some mountains or something those Goliaths could all be from? Ooh, UG sends a super chat. Thank you very much. This is I'm sorry, this is incredible, guys. I'm never going to get used to this. I have only GM'd a couple of one-shots, never D&D. I would love to GM cyberpunk and vampire games. Really appreciate all your content and tips. Advice and tips. I have never played cyberpunk. No, I've never played neither of those games. So I can't really comment. I've not tried that much. I tried Shadow Dark. No, Shadow. What's the techie cyber orcs with guns? What's that one called? Dungeon Rings. Awesome name. Did you have any experience with YouTube before this channel? Astounded at the quality of your videos. Sort of. I work at a video game company, and they produce videos for the internet, and I worked on those videos, and I took care of uploading videos on their content, videos on their channel, and edited them. They did decently well. I would have been very happy if our channel had done as well as those videos did, but we sort of, something crazy happened, and now we're here, and now I'm live. So I don't think it's fair to say that I had experience with YouTube, really. But I'm a professional writer and a professional director, and I do that for a living. So one would hope that the video looks okay. I'm amazed that people like watching and find it. That's all. Question, where did you buy that shirt? I love it. Thank you. I bought it at Dressmann. I don't know if you guys have Dressmann in the rest of the world. I think it's a Nordic store. I buy all my shirts there. How do you communicate with individual players secretly at the table? I love doing cloak and dagger stuff behind my fellow players' backs, but it's so hard signaling my DM without everyone knowing. Phones. Literally, we text each other, so everybody's got some notes on their phone, or they look up stuff on D&D Beyond. And a lot of the times, I will make eye contact with somebody, some player at the table, and they'll be looking up at me, and then they'll sort of tap their phone, or they'll do a little like this, you know? And then I know I have to go check Discord because they've just texted me something. Shadowrun. That's right. Thank you, Tenibatsu. That's exactly what it is. Perhaps a question, perhaps a video topic. Do you have examples of the ticking clock that puts pressure on the party to actually do the thing beyond ritual completes at midnight? For that kind of stuff, you're going to want to put it into practice repeatedly. Ritual completes at midnight. Okay, so if midnight rolls around and nobody's done anything, if midnight rolls around and nobody's done anything, you have to make sure that you have something in your back pocket that you can deploy against them. Otherwise, what's going on? And if the ritual destroys the world, then you're kind of screwed. You can't really do that. So you have to put steps along the way, and those steps have to make themselves known to the player. I might do a video on the ticking clock. I've been wanting to do one on combat objectives ever since we started. Hey, Robert Big. I commented yesterday I wouldn't be able to make it because of Australia, but I have 5 minutes to jump on and say hello. Hello, Robert. I have family in Australia, oddly enough. I hope things are nice there. I hear it's hot. We have a different problem in this country. Hey, congrats on 20,000. Thank you, Trekiros. Trekiros is a fellow YouTuber, fellow D&D tuber. They do excellent sort of videos on very similar topics. They're animated, and he's got a little Modron guy. It looks awesome. Question, any favorite modules? Why? I love Descent into Avernus. I love it. It is amazing. The art makes me want to go run D&D immediately. There's a lot of dungeon crawls in there, so when I ran it, I didn't really run it strictly according to Hoyle, but it's a lot of fun. I also had a lot of fun running Tomb of Annihilation. I like the hex crawly bit, but we ended up cutting it fairly short, actually. Rob says, I wish I'd seen more than the Reykjavik airport when I went to Iceland. That is common, that people come here and all they see is the airport. I grew up in the town just outside of there, so lots of planes. It's a big airport for a small country. Matt Without Fear, new member, asks, are you planning on any D&D campaigns to tie in with this total solar eclipse you'll get next year in Iceland? No. I didn't even know we have a total solar eclipse next year. That's awesome. Hi, Daði, big fan of the channel. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Manic Stayed for the Icelandic history lessons. Welcome. Robert asked, do I speak Icelandic? Absolutely. I'm Icelandic. Enjoy the money, nerd. Player bribery. Yes, Magnus is definitely trying to bribe me. Daði did massive damage to Maggie the other day. That's right, I killed him. Sorry. Question, is the VOD of this live stream going to be kept up or archived? I think so, yes. Probably. Unless I say something really, really stupid, which I might do, so maybe not, but probably. Question, for creating homebrew rules, I really appreciate it when folk put the question here so I can see it quickly. When creating homebrew rules, how do you gauge design complexity? Is it mostly vibes to know when the new rule is too complex? Yes. Yes, there are a few things I try and avoid. If there's anything that requires me to make dice rolls repeatedly in combat, I usually try and ditch it. Like if there's an aura and you have to roll a die when you get into it or something like that, I typically try and ditch it. I try and keep things as simple as I can, and then I ask Magnus to read it over because he's smarter than me. But Imrun says, we're prepping the Metagame costume as we speak. Yeah, I've got a costume too. It's going to be great. Tolio Enriquez says, what do you like more about being a DM, as opposed to being a player, I assume? I'm a control freak. I like being in charge. I don't like people telling me what I can and can't do, so that's it. No, I think I have some kind of, there's something wrong with my brain, and if I'm a player, there isn't enough for me to do all the time. So I'm sort of frozen. If I'm a DM, I'm doing 50 things at once, and that's how I like it. How do I introduce new players to the dynamics of their class? Do you have any advice? So, if I'm DMing for new players and my regular players are at the table, I let them take care of it. They're smart and they know what to do and they know how to teach that kind of stuff, so I let them take care of it. If I've got new players in front of me and it's all new players, I typically make sure that the stuff I'm running is simple enough that I can also remember what their class does, and I can point it out to them as every instance comes along. If they're playing a rogue, when they have an opportunity to do sneak attack or whatever, I make sure to tell them, hey, remember, check out your sneak attack thing, and that's, you have advantage or you do extra damage or whatever. Anna just became a Mystic member. Hi, welcome. She is also one of our players and is also trying to bribe me. I accept bribery. Have you ever played Delta Green, Koifish asks, and if so, did you like it? No, I saw Colville talking about it on stream, and it looks really, really cool. Bernie the Wordsmith asks, you mentioned Sly Flourish, so I'm assuming your session prep takes a bit from Mike. What's your own session prep like? I am not as lazy a DM as he teaches us to be. I am trying. Let me open up Obsidian real quick. And let me go have a look at the word count of my last session, because I'm about to set a bad precedent, as I tend to do. So hang on. This is interesting. Watch me click some links. The last session I ran was 1,700 words. The session before that was 1,700 words. So I think my session prep is about 1,700 words. I have run with less. I have run sessions off of a post-it note, and they were great. I genuinely don't think my players know the difference. It's just to calm me down. Thanks, Rob. Thank you. Yep, Magnus telling everyone I kill my players. Oh, very good. Shadowrun. Do I work for CCP? No. Hang on, am I caught up? No, hang on, there's more. Stand by. Lunatic Dice asks, question, how many games are you currently running a week as of right now? I'm running 3 campaigns concurrently and playing in one of them. They are not exactly weekly. Our schedule is, it moves, it shifts. Lunatic Dice, by the way, if you guys run Foundry, Pathfinder, if you guys run Pathfinder 2e on Foundry VTT, you can go check out Lunatic Dice. He does videos on the modules, the adventure paths, and he does he's got a bit on macros and stuff as well. You guys might find him useful. Yes, there is more than one game dev studio in Iceland. I think there's 19. I just heard the door slam, which means AB is about to come join us in a bit. Question, how do you alter stat blocks to fit a monster or NPC that doesn't just make it feel unfair for your players? I try and I don't worry about that in terms of, like, I try and just make sure that they understand this one's different. Like, if I describe an orc, but I've given him a magic axe, or, you know, I say he's got a magic axe, or if I say he's lithe and quick, or whatever, I just make sure that I communicate that. Where do you stand on miniatures? I love them. Can't have enough. Eve, yes. All your tips. Wow. There are so many people on here. This is kind of insane. I was expecting like 12. How many are watching? 200. Okay. Sigurd Peter. Hey, welcome. This is one of our first subscribers. Welcome, Sigurd Peter. Do you have any suggestions on what words to use for dex, advantage, disadvantage? My game's going to be played in Icelandic since we both speak Icelandic. Do you have any suggestions? I play all my games in English. I cannot do the whole translating thing that some Icelanders do. But I know that there's a Facebook group, the one I posted in, I'm not going to say it out loud, but the one I posted in, they have a Word doc where they've translated a whole bunch of game mechanics, and I'm sure some of the more mature nerds on there can point you in the right direction. Magnus mentioned you're working on an indie game. What type of game is it? Have you learned from the game design you've taken from DMing and vice versa? I'm not going to talk too much about the game. I want to wait until we've got something cool to show you guys, and then I'll tell you all about it. But if I point you in our direction right now, I think it's probably just going to be a lot of wasted attention. So let's wait a bit, and then you're going to have something dope to see. How about that? Have I learned from game design that I've taken into DMing and vice versa? Yes, absolutely. I love my job, and it makes me a better dungeon master, a better writer, and a better director. Yes. Have you ever run any campaigns for younger players, and if so, do you have any tips on what bits to simplify? My young boys, 8 and 6, keep bugging me to run a campaign for them. I'm sorry, the youngest player I've ever run for, I think, was 15. So I cannot help you there. I would suggest getting rid of skills at the very least. Try and keep it down to just 6 numbers to keep track of in terms of modifiers. Austin Scroggins asked, I should try and be better about reading the names out loud. Austin Scroggins asked, I'm preparing for a whole weekend of D&D with my campaign. Awesome. Will be about 16 hours of total D&D time. How would you prep for long sessions? When I have really long sessions, back to back, I make sure that they're dungeon crawls. That way, if everything goes off the rails and they're going in a different direction, at least they're going only into another room or the next door over or something like that. You can prep a dungeon. You can do 16 hours worth of dungeon in a couple of hours of prep time. The reason my prep documents are 1,700 words long is because they're about politics and feelings and emotions. If you're just doing dungeons, it can be much easier. Harris Octavius asks, what are some of your standard home rules for D&D? I have a firearm system, and we've made a couple of classes, and that's about it. The firearms is something we might be able to put out there at some point. We'll have to take a better look at that, but I think basically we run mostly as raw. Fall damage. I think it's too low. We have fall damage 1d6 for every 5 feet. That's about it. Uncut Warrior asks, have you ever run Strahd? Yes. I'm laughing because I had a terrible experience, and it's none of the adventurer's fault. I'm wondering about running it for a group that's a bit silly. Is it possible to have a good balance of silliness with a serious thing? Hello.
Hello.
We're live.
I see.
There are so many people. It's kind of insane.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, it's everybody. This is AB.
Hi.
Hang on, so we can see here.
How many people are there?
I think there's like 200 or something.
Oh my god, that's a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah, 212.
Okay, did you want me to be next to you?
Yeah, come be on this side. You brought cheese.
I did.
Hi, everybody. Say hi to AB.
Hello.
Look, everybody's saying hello.
Yes, I can see.
Oh, I see. I'm going to scroll up because that's where all the questions are. So
yeah, that's fine, that's fine.
Hello. We're actually quite a bit in the past.
Can you, like, pause it? I don't know anything about live streaming.
If I scroll up, it just sort of stays there.
That's what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
you can stay where you are in the chat.
Yeah, so Uncut Warrior was asking, is it possible to have... Blimey. Is it possible to have a good balance of silliness with the serious dark setting? Yes. Yes, absolutely. You can mix that as much as you like. It's just going to be up to you to make sure that...
Sorry, I'm opening the cheese.
Cheese.
I assume most of you know it's like Baby Bell. I think you can get it everywhere.
We're not sponsored.
We're not sponsored. Please sponsor me, Baby Bell.
Yes, you can mix silly and not silly. Absolutely. I don't know if I have a tip for how to do that. Just make sure that when it's silly, you as the DM are also silly, and when it's serious, you make sure to bring it to that level. You're gonna have to control that with the way you voice and narrate things.
I mean, I feel like it's also kind of a dance with the players.
Yeah.
Because like sometimes we'll have kind of serious adventures, or like, yeah, it's an adventure with a serious tone, and we'll start joking, whatever, it'll be funny.
Yeah.
And sometimes we keep going, and you kind of need to rein it back.
Yes. Like
we can definitely feel like sometimes we just like get each other into this like funny mood where like, okay.
Oh, we're all giggly?
We need to calm down.
Yeah, we were once just being absolutely useless. We kept giggling so much that we just went, let's take a break. This isn't working. And then we came back to it. Old Dev Bless says, I play in Hebrew.
Oh, shit.
Wow. That's wild.
I'm trying to remember if I know any Hebrew. I grew up in a town that had a lot of Jewish people in it, so...
You have a Jewish grandmother?
Yes. Well, she's a Russian Jew. So, I know some Yiddish phrases. I know that's not the same, but...
Do you have any experience running games with VTTs, and if not, are you interested in learning how to use one? I don't really
More
like...
cheese.
More cheese. Hang on.
Sorry.
Cheese break.
Cheese break. At least it's only this part that's like plastic. Okay, done.
What was it? VTTs.
Yeah.
I don't like playing online. I know a lot of people do, and I've done it, and when I had to do it, I preferred it to not playing, absolutely. But for me, D&D is about that thing where we're all sitting around a table and we're looking each other in the eyes and we're experiencing emotions in the same room together. So, no.
Oh, sorry. So I started playing on Roll20, and yeah, I guess that's a VTT. And that was nice because it was the only way I could play. But now that I play with Daði, I would never want to play on Roll20 again. That's like...
Not specifically this Roll20.
No, sorry, not Roll20. I just mean online.
Yeah.
Like, Roll20 is the platform that I'm familiar with, so that's why I'm referencing it. Like, if I had to play online, I would go to Roll20, because I don't know any other system.
No, I used Roll20 when I was running. The lighting made it really fun to...
Oh yeah, the dynamic lighting?
Yeah, I ran Dungeon of the Mad Mage in that, and that adventure fell apart, I think, largely because dungeon crawling can just be rough for modern players. But it was a lot easier to run it because all the rooms were linked on the map and all the descriptions and all the monsters were just right there, so we could run it right out of the map with the dynamic lighting. I think it's the easiest time I've ever had running an adventure.
I don't think I ever got to play with dynamic lighting. That was like a premium feature.
Really?
I don't know, maybe it's changed, but...
Question I've seen in a Dungeon Master Quests asks, I've seen a lot of YouTube videos where people weren't keen to playing Avernus. I ended up not getting it. What's your favorite part of the module? What made you really like it? The setting. Which I think is a bad answer, right?
You don't like the module, you just like where it's set.
I like where it's set. I could easily imagine creating adventures in there and running them. So, purely on vibes. The people who complain about the structure of the dungeon crawl string, I think, are largely correct. There's also a very popular mod for it that I remember seeing. I wish I could shout out the correct place. It's called like stand by. Run Avernus as a sandbox, yes. Eventier Games run Avernus as a sandbox, and what it does, it's a DM's Guild product, I think. Yeah. What it does is it takes the flowchart and it splits it into a sandbox so that you can go to any of the first 5 locations, then any of the next 3.
We could just put it in chat, right?
Yeah, good.
Or like link to this page at least?
Yeah.
Here you go, we'll put it in chat.
Yeah. That's what I would recommend doing if you're gonna run that. I don't think the flowchart does the adventure any favors. If I click on the thing, okay, there we go. Amok Narkar asks.
Oh, you skipped. Oh wait, no.
No, I'm at the top.
Sorry.
How should I run a D&D game? I have no other person nearby who I can play with, and I need to also introduce all the people to the game, and I've spent way too much time in prep.
Well, we were just talking about playing online.
Yeah.
So if there's literally no one, if there's no one around you, and you're having trouble meeting people or whatever, then online's the go-to. Like I said, that's where I started because there was no one around me that was playing, and I had a lot of fun.
I am also a big proponent of asking people who are just a little nerdy and seeing if you can make them slightly more nerdy by having them play D&D. You don't need to find the nerdiest people you know. You just need to find some people you can imagine spending a night in a room talking about swords together. Bribery always works, says Anna. Peanut butter cups are the best way to get your way.
Hi, Anna. Yes, I love peanut butter cups.
Anna and Magnus are members now.
Oh shit! Oh, can I? Okay.
I don't know.
Well, I think we can save this as a thing to upload. We'll just bleep out this and the bad word you said.
Yes. Thoughts on mass combat? I love it. I've run it before. I had a lot of fun with it. D&D system is very bad at dealing with it.
Importantly, though, you don't use D&D for mass combat.
No, I use Kingdoms and Warfare's mass combat system, and it's probably the best one I've seen so far.
Any tips on role-playing? Wait, scroll up a bit. You skipped. NPCs, do you do voices? We all do voices.
I talk in silly accents.
Daði does so many voices. Obsessed. He does this little gremlin kind of yeah, do it.
No,
yes.
I'm not.
Okay. Sorry.
Sorry.
That's a private table voice.
Yeah.
But he does this little gremlin goblin voice that is my absolute favorite thing in the world. So yes. Do voices, your players will love it. You might be embarrassed, I guarantee you they will love it.
Yes.
And I think we mentioned it, I don't remember what video it was in, but basically I think some people might sometimes feel embarrassed about doing a voice, an accent or whatever. You don't, especially as a player, you don't need to go crazy. Mm-hmm. You can, try to do a British accent or whatever. Just shift part of the way you talk. And if everyone is open to doing that, it can feel less scary. Mm-hmm. And especially if the DM starts it, the person who tends to be talking the most or kind of giving an example to the table. I feel like when the DM does it, you're like, oh, okay, they're into it. That way, if a player feels like doing it, why not?
I think it's also sort of up to the DM to kind of be the weirdest person at the table a little bit, and you can get a lot of mileage out of that.
Yes.
Do you prep NPC speech or address as well? Do you rather improvise that on the fly? I have on occasion, if I'm introducing a new NPC, I might write down their opening line or something clever, some good turn of phrase, and then I just kind of wing it based on who they are as a person. Cortex also asked similar question. Sorry, Andrea Zimmerman asked that question. Cortex also asked that similar question. Same answer.
So I know you sometimes do write, like, sometimes you'll have cutscenes before sessions. I know you tend to write, you basically write that out as a scene.
Yes.
Excuse me.
Do you have any ideas or suggestions for running homebrew solo campaigns?
Yes, don't you?
Yes.
He runs a solo campaign for me, and I'm obsessed with it.
Yes. One of the 3 games I'm running is for AB, and recently Magnus was in it, but then I killed him so that I could run more for just AB. No, he's
That's
gonna
a lie.
He's going to be in the next one. I've also run, for our main game, I ran a whole bunch of those. And they are a lot of work. They're a lot of work, but they are also a lot of fun. They're very rewarding. Thiergol asks, do you ever have trouble with getting the party aligned on the one objective? I'm dealing with a thorough space campaign in which we have 6 members of different backgrounds and belief systems. You gotta make sure to hit them where it hurts. If the player characters have no reason to be pointed in that same direction, you're probably gonna struggle a bit. If you've done a bit of that, you might need to talk to your players and say, hey, this is what the adventure is. But you gotta make sure to build in your bad guys and give us all a reason to hate them. I love I love the idea of just really bad guys.
Yes, you love having just straight up evil people.
Yes. Everybody loves it in Indiana Jones when he just punches all the Nazis.
Yeah. Although I think also a way that the question could be interpreted is, I don't know, sometimes there are multiple ways forward and your party will take an hour to argue about what they want to do. Like, it's like on the one objective, like basically if you hand 3 different plot threads to a party, I can imagine a situation where, the paladin's like, I want to go to this, and the rogue's like, I want to go do that, and blah, blah, blah.
That's when you gotta, have something, get them out of rut. You gotta introduce the ticking clock, have something happen if they spend too much time yapping.
You kick them in the butt a little.
Yeah. 2 questions. Furious Dan asks. This is the angriest Dan on the internet. 2 questions. I'm running a Dark Souls style mega dungeon.
Cool.
How do I keep the players within the bounds of an outdoor dungeon? And how do you run turn by turn actions in a dungeon?
How do I keep the players within the bounds? Oh, like keep them from leaving, basically?
Yeah. Well, you gotta make it impossible to leave, right? If you're in like a regular dungeon, you can't just walk through the walls and get out of there. I don't know, unless you're really high level.
Yeah.
So the same's got to be true for your dungeon. You got to make sure that the outdoor dungeon somehow keeps everybody in.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a forest, maybe there's some weird magic stuff where if you walk into it and it's like you come out the other side. Like you're lost in the forest. You can't leave.
Oh, the fog?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once you can't leave.
They do this in Strahd, right? So there's a fog around Barovia.
I've never played Curse of Strahd.
That's because I ran it once and I had a terrible time through no fault of the adventure. And in Strahd, if you get into the fog, then you get turned around, you go back into the Barovia where all the adventuring happens.
Yeah, do the Strahd fog.
Yeah. Question: how do you use Obsidian for session prep and Duke Master asks and campaign development? Any tips on recommending workflows? Bonus points for sharing a screen. We're not going to get into that now, but
No.
we will make a video on it. I mentioned Obsidian in a video, and a whole bunch of questions were asked in the comments by people who know way more about Obsidian than me, and they were asking about plugins and stuff.
Yes, it turns out to be a newbie.
Yeah.
He loves it, but he's actually not like a master of it.
No. So I'm going to teach myself a little bit more, and then probably in this setup, I'll go put up something on my screen, and we'll do a video about that. Nick asks, how do you handle experienced players who don't or won't learn their abilities after months? I may or may not have 1 or 2 at my table. If this becomes a problem, and if it's really frustrating you, you just have to talk to them. There really is no cure for it. And some players will not learn their abilities. It is up to you how you feel about that and whether you are okay with playing with those people.
Yeah. I mean, it's one thing, it's like, you know, I forget this one ability that I don't use all the time. But if they're, you know, if they're very frequently, you know, forgetting basic things, like, you know, how core abilities work, or like their to hit bonus, or stuff, basic stuff that you should know, that's negligence on their part.
Yeah. Salka became a member. She's one of our players.
Oh my god! Thanks, Salka!
Pilgrim asks, you think it's important to run a complex plot campaign or just a casual dungeon? I'm new at DMing. No. I am an insane person who needs everything to be crazy. And as a result, that is what I like doing. If you're just starting out, you should feel more than happy just figuring out a basic dungeon, a 5-room dungeon. I think is a good place to start. A standalone adventure is a good thing to follow it up with. And go from there. And then as you want to run more complicated things, and you are excited to do that, then you should do it.
It's crazy how far like behind the chat we are.
Yes, now you've just arrived.
Yeah, we're just now coming to all the comments that are saying hi to me. Oh, hold on, yeah, scroll up, there's like a bunch of highs. What type of cheese? Okay, yes, I answered that, it was Baby Bell.
All hell, the cheese bringer.
Did you have a Gouda time? Well, I did. I don't know if Daði was said.
I haven't said, no.
Yeah, so I was seeing the new Nosferatu movie. The director's name escapes me. But I went with Ivar, our roommate. He's the same one that did The Lighthouse and The Witch. So
the director, not Ivar.
Yeah, sorry, no, not Ivar. The director.
Yeah, Robert Eggers.
Yes, Robert Eggers.
Ivar's the guy who paints our minis.
Yes, but yeah, we went with Ivar and a couple of other friends, and it was pretty cool. Oh, they're asking me what my ink is, like tattoos. Okay. You know, we won't do a whole tour, but I have stuff on my left arm.
You have a jester. Show them the jester.
Okay, I do have a jester.
He's upside down. This one's my favorite. This
is a little jester. Sorry, I'm not used to looking at the camera and doing this. He's got his little foot. He like dances when I move my wrist.
Rob Hubman says that Baby Bell is a choice.
Listen, they're easy to eat and they're very mild, so it's a nice little snack.
Jeremy Hans asks, you mentioned Matt Mercer. Are you a Critical Role watcher? I watched all of Campaign 2 and I was in love. I haven't really checked out the third campaign. I watched the first one on the show on Amazon. I thought it was really cool. Yeah,
I watched like the beginning of Campaign 2, and then I didn't finish it. I think I watched like 50% of the way through. Like, I think it's cool. I watched the first season of the animated series. Like, I'm not caught up. Like, I think Critical Role is cool, and I like the attention it's putting on the hobby. And the reason I got into D&D is because I listened to The Adventure Zone, which was a podcast. So like I'm very happy like actual play and things have things online, because that's how you spread knowledge of the hobby.
Absolutely. Do you have any tips on how to get new players to get comfortable with role-playing in a session? Be so silly that them being a little bit silly is just a tiny little detail.
Also, I think like just giving compliments, like after a scene or like during a break or whatever, just being like, hey, that thing you said was cool, or that thing you did was cool. I remember pretty early on we had a smoker's adventure.
Yeah, it's one of our murder mysteries in the city. A
murder mystery, and it's a bit of a like shorter. It's like 6, 7, 8 sessions, whatever, something like that. And it was relatively short time after I started playing with people here, and I hadn't really played that much D&D, and I had definitely not been roleplay focused. And I had some scene with Eva and other characters, and then it was like very serious and like dramatic and blah blah blah, and it was over. And afterwards, he was like, "Good scene, AB," and I was like, "Oh."
Yeah, you gotta be complimentary too, and what I found helps a lot is when the session's over, that you have an opportunity to go talk about what your characters chose to do, how they chose to express how they felt. Because that moment when we're all done playing and we're sitting around the table still is an excellent opportunity for you to say, hey, when you said that thing or whatever, that was really cool.
Yeah.
And by rewarding that behavior on one player's part, the other players might be interested in joining in.
Yeah, we always do.
If they're not,
oh,
though, sorry. If they're not, though, then that's just the D&D they want to play. You were gonna say?
Yeah, I was just we a lot of the times we have like debriefs after sessions, like not anything official, but just like the session's over and we all spend a lot of time talking about, oh, you know, when your character did that or blah 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 blah. You know, I thought. Yeah, that's the end of that sentence. I just mean, you know, we dive deeper into things and it's really fun to talk about it from a roleplay perspective. So even if you have necessarily trouble, like, being in character or feeling kind of uncomfortable, if you start talking about, like, your character's incentives or even just hear other people talking about it from their perspective, I think it can really lend itself to. It's just, it all bounces off each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it's hard, you know, if no one's doing it. Someone needs to take the first step.
Yeah. Lunatic Dice asks, you mentioned a mega game earlier in the stream. Can you talk a bit more about that? How do you manage 25 people in one game?
How do you manage 25 people in one game?
Well, there's 3 of us running the game. You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
There's 3 of us running the game, and I do less work than the others, so that helps. For more on this, we will probably end up making a video. I'm really seriously looking into ways that we can film it or something to that effect. I would love to show that process to you folks.
TLDR, there's a lot of prep.
So much prep. There's a Miro board, it's kind of insane. Jake Astounding asks, have you ever had 2 or more campaigns running in the same canonicity at the same time? If so, or if not, how would you manage that? Yes.
Isn't everything you do always canon?
Yeah. Out of those 60 or 70 adventures that we run in the game, a good chunk of them were happening around the same time. What I try and make sure is that...
Sorry.
Twang. What I try and make sure to do is that if they're running at the same time, they're not running in the same place. And if they're running in the same place, they're running at different times. So you've got 2 dimensions there you can play with. And then I try and make sure they don't touch on the same topics, right? That's the sort of 3rd dimension you can add to that. You know, if one adventure is all about pirates, the other adventure doesn't feature pirates, and then we can sort of imagine that that's going on in the background. Solo monsters can be underwhelming. Do you have any tips on improving them? I'm writing a script about boss battles, and I want to talk about exactly this. Basically, they have to do more things. They have to have more hit points, more actions. You kind of have to go a little crazy.
Legendary actions.
Oh yeah.
Lair actions.
Oh yeah.
Free unfair boss actions that will make your players go, what the heck?
Yeah.
He can't do that.
Yes, he can.
Yes, he can.
That was Charles that asked that. Lily Pooley.
No, Little.
Little Pooley. Thank you. Keep me honest. Mm-hmm. Recommended one-shots to introduce new players to the hobby. We wrote an adventure called All Hail Gekk. It's available on our...
You wrote it. I didn't write it.
You edited it.
I edited it.
It's available in the description of the 5-room dungeon video. In the 5-room dungeon video, there's another 5-room dungeon. You can start right there.
Yeah, it's for free. Like, you can download it, look it over.
Sigurd Peter asks, what's your stand on metagaming? I ask because nerves from advice I've gotten from DMs and my first session is right around the corner. Hey, listen, you're going to be fine on your first session. Don't worry about it. Metagaming. So there's a lot of talk about metagaming, and specifically, people like to talk about metagaming online as if any knowledge about the game is wrong, and you don't have to worry about that. Your players know that if they do this or that, they have advantage on the attack or whatever. Your characters know something similar or equivalent. That's not metagaming. Metagaming is a thing where somebody is acting on information that they shouldn't have, and there's a clash that makes us not have fun. If that happens, you need to talk to that player. However, a lot of the times, I don't think metagaming is all that bad. If we're running a session and there's a troll and the troll's regenerating, somebody can sit there going, I know that we should do fire damage, and they can ask, can I make a roll so that my character knows that? Or they can say, we should do fire damage, and I can say, no, listen, you should do a roll to see if your character knows that.
Yeah, it's funny because I have like I almost kind of understand that fear because I feel like sometimes I can't even apply like basic information.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about silvered weapons or something last session. I was like, I don't know what silver does. You know, like if you live in, you know, if you have a world and there are werewolves or vampires or whatever, you know, in myth or whatever, like, you know, like you said, there's certain things that your characters know that your players also know. And if you ever are unsure, just ask the DM.
Yeah. Gretar Már. Hey, I love to see the Icelanders in chat.
Yes, Iceland.
Ooh, Iceland. What are you guys' favorite module setting, official and or third party? I love Waterdeep. I really love it. It's so out there, it's so different from everything else I run. I just took Waterdeep and I put it in my world and I didn't even think twice about it, and you can do the same. Not for Waterdeep specifically, just anything.
I haven't played any official modules ever. I have not played in any official anything.
God.
All of my D&D experience is homebrew.
Really?
Yes, which is also why I'm like, can
You
you
wanna
do
run
Curse of Strahd? Because I'm like, I've never played it.
And now we have an idea of the delay. It looks like it's about 12 seconds. Yeah, it sounds right.
Yeah. Top 3 favorite D&D music motifs.
This is Victor. Victor is one of our players.
Victor. Obviously, all of my character themes. No.
Listen, Oracle, I swear by. Lanterns Glow in Oracle, Mage Tower, Regnum Mortis, those are all great. I use the War Rooms, like I mentioned. You know, I mentioned several of these in the video already.
I'm obsessed with Discombobulate.
Yes.
We use Discombobulate from the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes. We use it in our murder mystery stuff.
Yeah.
Every time that happens, it's like, oh my god,
It's
there's
on.
some hijinks happening.
Oh, whenever we fight in Hell or in Avernus, we do the Doom music. Cyber Demon is awesome. The Portal to the Past from Fallout 4, I associate a lot with Vecna. I'm running Vecna for her now. Not the official adventure, my own adventure.
I fought his meat puppet. His meat puppet killed Magnus.
Sorry, Magnus.
He did like 3... he had 3 attacks per turn. That ranged laser attacks that did 4d10. 4d10 and we are level 6. We just leveled up to level 6. You know. You shouldn't be asking him for balance advice.
No.
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 Do you run homebrew worlds or just modules? Well, you run in your homebrew world, and then sometimes you take modules and just kind of shove them in there.
Yeah. Descent into Avernus. Avernus just exists in my world now. I ran Frost Maiden, so that just exists in my world now. Same with Waterdeep.
I was just laughing at when will you do a face reveal? I don't know what you think this is.
That's the one. Oh, and we're suddenly back at the bottom. Every now and again, it just puts us back at the bottom.
Yeah.
Release the gremlins. I'm sorry, folks. No.
I think scroll up.
We were here. Well, face reveal.
Oh yeah. Are there any drastically different? I enjoyed your scope.
Huh?
This one. I enjoyed your recent video on enjoying 5e, but are there any drastically different games you've enjoyed?
Yes.
I'm currently running a legitimately insane campaign of Wildsea right now and loving it.
Don't know what Wildsea is.
Says Anto Manifesto.
We went to a cabin in the middle of nowhere. We got drunk. Spoilers. Sorry, I don't know. We played cowboys.
We are adults.
We are adults, but we also played Paranoia.
Yes,
which was
Magnus
a lot
ran
of
for
fun.
us.
Mm-hmm. All hail Mother Computer, and if you don't behave, we'll rat you out. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I've also had a lot of fun in Call of Cthulhu. No gremlin voice.
No gremlin voice.
Sorry.
Do you ever play OSR? What's OSR?
Old School Renaissance.
I don't know what that is.
That's like people who specifically miss the classic dungeon crawl feel of old D&D, and there are new systems that sort of resurrect it, like a renaissance of that classic.
So I don't, because I don't know what that is.
I have never really read one of those rule books. I have read several of those adventures, and they look like a lot of fun, but I haven't played them. Can you please do some voices? I'm sorry, Harris. I will not.
TMA Nook. I'm a game developer. Yes, fellow game devs.
Yes.
Let's make some noise.
Do you ever struggle with wanting to play different genres, eras, settings, but feeling restricted by your existing campaign setting? No. So here's the thing. Here's the secret.
The secret is your campaign setting can be every genre.
Yes.
Just make a place and it's that genre.
I wanna talk about Warhammer Fantasy. The thing is, the thing is, you can just stick them all in there and crock them around and have fun with it. So Warhammer Fantasy, if you play Total War Warhammer, or the board game, but I've only played Total War Warhammer, is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. They've just got them all stuck in there. You got Skaven, you got Empire, you got dwarves, you got elves. So we just been sent a picture on Discord. Mike Bodie is being very flattering.
That's a very nice message from Mike Bodie.
You could just stick them all in there. So the Empire has guns. The Bretonnians have Pegasus horses. The Skavens have warp magic. The dwarves hold their grudges. You could just stick them all in there, and they could be in different parts of your world. My world is huge. So one part has Wild West parts, and then there's Waterdeep, and then there is this 18th century industrialization thing I was talking about at the start. You can just do all of them, and then you can use time as well. So a campaign Magnus is running in our game right now is Odyssey of the Dragon Lords, which is a book that was written by some incredibly talented former BioWare employees, I think. And BioWare. And they are all like classic heroic Greek myth sort of thing, not unlike Mythic Odysseys of Theros.
I find it important to point out that everyone is in that campaign except me.
She's a bit upset about that.
No, it was fair. They planned it before I really even met you. So.
Yes.
I am not bitter.
And anyway, so that is set in the ancient history of our world, and then Magnus has kind of the joy of coming up with answers to why my setting is the way it is.
Why did you...
I clicked some button and...
We're bad at live streaming.
We're still figuring this out. I love that Magnus is just answering questions.
Yes, shout out to Magnus. We love you and you are a font of knowledge.
It seems that I'm not able to scroll... Hang on.
Live chat.
Yes. Somebody told me to do that, and it has been useful.
Okay.
So we lost a chunk. So if your question hasn't been answered, feel free to repost it now. We're basically at the bottom of the chat.
So the key is you shouldn't click anything.
Jason asked, my players are always highly suspicious of every NPC I introduce, like they're just waiting for the gotcha moment of betrayal. How can I get them to trust me more so I can move the plot forward?
Oh, they're suspicious of every NPC.
Yeah.
Well,
put a silly little guy in there. Give him a silly voice. Have him give them something fun, and have no ulterior motives. And then, hopefully, find someone they latch onto, and then make them plot important.
Yeah, I think it also helps if you just if you involve some sort of situation or whatever where the NPC like is vulnerable or honest or whatever before like the players, like basically not they throw themselves under the bus for the players, but basically a situation in which if they're both kind of talking or like there's a give and take where the NPC gives them something first.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, instead of having instead of having the NPC be cagey about everything, have them offer up some bit of humanization off the bat.
Yeah, or like have them put themselves on the back foot.
Yeah.
No dying, AB not allowed. I'm doing my best, but guess what? He killed me like 3 sessions ago in a different campaign. Massive damage. He's massive damage killed 3 different people in the past 4 sessions.
I think it's important to note that we get about 4 hours of sunlight in Iceland around the winter.
Don't move here. Your DM will become murderous.
Yeah. Listen, what are players for? Not to kill them. Hey, Kel, welcome to the channel.
Yes, welcome, Kel.
Wow, people are being so nice in here.
Graydon, very sweet comment. T, thank you, T Villain.
So much. Question, how do you handle burnout? I don't.
This man is insane and is not the person to talk about burnout. He basically requires burnout to function, and there's something wrong with him mentally.
Yes.
And I love you.
So, all of my most insane D&D ambitions have happened at the same time as all of my most insane work ambitions. Somewhere along the way, I realized that the busier I get, the more I need to make myself busy of my own accord in order to be happy. So, occasionally I then crash and I burn out, and typically what I do is not healthy. Don't take advice from me, but then I vanish for about a couple of weeks and come back.
Have you answered this question?
Are you going to do? No.
Okay. A lot of people ask us, are we going to record us playing? Are we going to do a series like Critical Role or whatever? At the moment, we have no plans to do so, and we basically don't really feel comfortable with that. And I know people are going to keep asking that, as new players, or new viewers, come to the channel, but we don't have plans for it. So if you're kind of waiting for a secret video or anything like that, like, I'm dashing those hopes because it's not happening.
If we ever were to do something like that, it wouldn't be our home game.
No.
And it would have to be something we did with the purpose of putting out there as a product. And as somebody who directs things for a living, my standard for what that would have to look like is kind of insane. So I'm not looking at that unless for some reason we have an incredible budget to work with and a studio and all that kind of stuff.
We're
nowhere near that point. We've done incredibly well. We're super thankful for the support this channel has gotten. It has been insane for these 2 months. Thank you so much. But not happening in...
Basically, you would only want to make something like Critical Role if you had the budget of Critical Role, which we don't. We do not.
We do not. Running 2 campaigns at once, do you have any way of preventing favoring one over the other? No. No, I always have a favorite. I tell myself I don't, but one of them gets more work than the others. Try not to do that. The only thing you can really do is when you notice that happening... yum. That's a paranoia reference. The only thing you can do when you notice that happening, that you have a favorite campaign, is you have to go compensate. You have to go mark off some time, sit down, and really put in the work to compensate in the other direction.
Also, importantly, if like you have a favorite to the point where like the reason you have a favorite is because you hate a campaign, you should or like dislike it or avoid it for some reason. You should think about, why am I avoiding this? Because it could just be you don't like the premise, or you don't like the players, or you don't like some part of it. Like if it's a core, if you don't like the core aspect of a campaign, it might just be better for you to throw it out or like revisit, like revise it or something. Like it's okay to say, I tried something and it didn't work out and I'm gonna go do something else.
Yeah, and the amount of times where I've gotten burned out on a campaign or I really don't want to run it anymore, and instead of dropping it, although I have done that and there's nothing wrong with it, but instead of dropping it, you can also decide to take the finale and just move it up. So you go, okay, I've only got energy for about 3 more sessions of this nonsense. How can I end the campaign in 3 sessions? And then you do that. Question Tsunami.
My question is running 2 campaigns.
Favorite?
Oh, we just did that.
Yeah.
I'm working in a homebrew setting. I want the gods to be dead.
Awesome.
How would I go about clerics gaining their powers?
They somehow connect to the dead gods and do some weird stuff to be able to talk to the dead gods. I had a reverse problem where the players ignored all the sussy stuff happening and thus everything went horribly wrong. That's hilarious.
That's funny. Listen, sometimes like things going terribly wrong, like things going terribly wrong doesn't mean the adventure ends. It just means things have now gone terribly wrong and the adventure needs to change.
Yes. For instance, when I massive damage killed Magnus in that campaign.
And now my entire adventure needs to change.
I now need to change the entire adventure.
What does your digital setup look like? I can't do music well because I don't have screen real estate.
I alt-tab like crazy.
Yes.
I've got Spotify, and then I have a Chrome window and an Obsidian window, and I just alt-tab.
He sits at the table and has a laptop, not that big one. That's it. That's all the screens. And then, well, you do. So we have like the RGB, Bluetooth controlled like light bulbs from IKEA.
Yeah, that's on my phone.
And that's an app on the phone, but that's literally just like he turns it on at the beginning of the session, and then we have some of the lights go red during combat. So it's like it's combat, but otherwise it's just the laptop.
For us both, how do you split the work in making your videos? What are both of your strengths and weaknesses with content creation?
Well,
we sort of write them together.
Yeah. Well, so Daði tends to do a lot of the like ideation of like initial video topics. Obviously, if I have an idea, then we work on it. Mm-hmm. But I think pretty much all the videos so far, we have a mirror board where Daði just like farts out a gazillion ideas, and then we go through and go, we like this, we like this. And so I mark the ones that I'm most interested in, and he marks the ones that he's most interested in. And basically the process is one of us will basically do bullet points, and then the other goes through and like takes the bullet points and turns it into actual text. And then we throw it over, and the other person edits. And then at that point,
it bounces around a bit.
It bounces around, and then we film.
Yeah, and when we film, there's a little space for improvisation, but we really just do read the prompter as much as we can.
Yeah.
We like our scripts to be tight, and we don't want to... we're really nervous about ruining it with too much yapping.
Yeah, and then once we film, we edit. So Daði, like he's gone to film school. He's done a whole bunch of editing. Is a professional. So he tends to do the editing. I have edited a couple of videos, but I'm still more new to it. I'm slower. So in terms of just like content output, if we're like on a tighter deadline, it goes to Daði.
Yeah.
But
you do a fair bit of the editing, and then obviously we both handle a lot of the social media stuff and answer comments and Discord and behind the scenes sort of admin things that need to happen.
Yeah.
How much do you think about the narrative ending of an adventure? Is it possible to plan for it without taking away the player's agency? Asks Mahogany Tree. Yes, the bad guys have a plan, and somewhere along the way, the players are going to become aware of that plan, and they're going to try and do something about it. So what you, as the DM, have to do is you have to figure out what the bad guys are doing, where they are, and what that looks like. Ardent the Bibliophile asks if one of your players succeeded guessed the big bad out of game, how do you handle it? I try and maintain my stern poker face and carry on as if nothing had happened.
Also, even if someone guessed it, like, that's not going to change. This isn't Game of Thrones, where he rewrites everything because we guessed a plot.
Exactly. Rob Human asks, are you also powered by spite? Absolutely. Yes.
This is responding to
Brian.
people.
I also hate being idle. Rob, I relate so much.
We're getting towards the bottom.
Yes, look at us go.
Okay.
Oh, it just clipped. Sometimes it just goes down.
Oh yeah, we were here. Question: you mentioned running Pathfinder before. What made you switch?
So before I say any of this, I want to say that Paizo is an incredible company, and I'm so happy people love Pathfinder. And there are plenty of people talking about Pathfinder online. I mentioned Lunatic Dice earlier. You can go check them out. But I played Pathfinder. It was my introduction to the hobby. It was a game that we ran in Pathfinder First Edition. And the issue we ran into was number bloat and splatbook bloat. And the main thing that we encountered was that if somebody came along and wasn't interested in like the system of making characters, or maybe they just didn't know. Sometimes when new players join the game halfway through a campaign, their characters would suck. Because there's a game of building characters, and that game is so much broader in a 3.x system than it is in 5th edition.
Yeah.
So we would have players come and they would try the game and they would be so bad and they would have such a bad time that they didn't want to play.
I've never played Pathfinder. I played Pathfinder Kingmaker, the video game. And let me tell you, making my character there, I have never seen so many feats.
Yeah.
And the fact that there are feats that work, where it's like, if I take the feat, and Daði takes the feat, and Magnus, it like, with the power of 3, the feat is... listen, if you love Pathfinder, power to you.
Yeah, awesome.
But my brain explode, and I don't want that.
I'm very happy with the game I'm currently playing. I would love it if WotC as a company was more like Paizo, and if you want to go support Paizo, absolutely go ahead and do that. They deserve all the love they have, and there are plenty of people who seem to have a very good time playing those games.
We love player-facing, player-supporting behavior.
Absolutely.
Kel says, I only play digitally, never played in person for reasons. I find it difficult to find a group, let alone a DM. Heard horror stories paying a DM, so not sure if this is a fixed solution. So I've never paid... So I said earlier that I started playing by playing online on Roll20. I never paid a DM. I always skipped the paid listings because it just felt a bit weird to me. So I think if you're having trouble finding a group, sometimes the answer is to make the group yourself, because that is what happened to me. I played online and I was kind of bouncing around, or like basically I would join a group, do a session or two, and then drop out because the vibes were off, or I didn't like how the DM talked, like whatever. Like I didn't like it, and then I made my own campaign, and I made a rigorous system of application, and I like pruned the applications down to the people that interested me, and then I interviewed every single person that I invited to an interview, and so I just I formulated the perfect group, and then we played for like over a year, and then I discovered DMing really stressed me out, so I stopped doing that. But yes, sometimes the answer is to become a DM and make your own group.
I think you should do that. Go, find 3 people you work with. You don't need that many people. You can play D&D. Listen, dungeon crawling with just 2 or 3 people, if you know how to balance your games, which I don't, then you're going to have an excellent time. All you need is a couple of more slightly nerdy people, and then you're going to make them more nerdy by playing D&D with you.
Would love to hire you for writing a TTRPG adventure. Realizing you just crossed the border. Keep manifesting yourself. Oh, thank you. You're awesome. Thank you, Beyond the Circles. Love you.
Beyond the Circle always comments the little prayer.
Yes, the little prayer hands, the little hearts. We love seeing your comments. They're always so nice.
Do you have a favorite designer of third-party D&D material? I do love the MCDM team a whole bunch.
He's a Matt Kobold fanboy.
I am. I love all of that stuff. And the mega game that we're about to start, that we mentioned a bit at the start of the stream, is all set in Freeport, which is a Green Ronin setting.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think you said that and I forgot about it immediately.
I think that one's also really cool.
I think scroll.
Matt Mike is outing me as a Matt fan.
Question: what are some of the most important things to prepare as a first-time DM? About to run my first session, and I'm nervous as hell.
If you get yourself 5 rooms and some monsters, listen, this is the advice, folks.
It's make a 5-room dungeon.
Make a 5-room dungeon, because all you need is a couple of monsters and something for the players to kill and steal, and I think then you're basically done.
I think bonus points if there's like an NPC or 2.
Yeah. Someone to talk to.
Yes. Oh yes. Sorry.
I forgot that one.
Yeah. You just kind of went straight to kill.
You can kill them too. Someone to talk to. Find some silly voice, do the gremlin voice, and then you say, "Hey, hello," and you do that little thing, and then they all want to adopt a kobold. That is what happens in D&D.
Mm-hmm. What's your method for keeping combat descriptions fresh and exciting? It feels like improv, or the prompt is always the same and gets stale too easily. Says VJ Beyonder.
Sometimes I don't describe anything. If we are just sort of getting to the point where we're hacking at a monster, I think it's okay to let the dice speak for themselves for a little bit. As we zoom out of the game and we're just talking about mechanics. And then you can feel free to, once you've got something interesting to say, you zoom back in and do it then. You don't always need to be...
Yeah, because I think trying to give a description, like, for every time any character does anything, you're right, it can get stale. So leave it for those moments where something cool is happening.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of the time, like, we do the classic, how do you want to do this, or whatever. Like, if someone gets a killing blow, or if someone gets, a crit or something, then it's, what you're doing.
Yeah. How do you keep combat challenging for both power gamers and players that don't lean into that side of D&D as much? I struggle to challenge both. Yep. Okay. I struggle to challenge both sides simultaneously. I don't know. Do I do anything about that? I don't think so.
Wait, how do you keep combat challenging power gamers and players that... Well, so the thing is, you run a lot of combat.
Yeah.
So it's like most of the players at the table enjoy combat. So I don't really think it's something you need to worry about. I don't know. I think that's just something. I don't know. I don't have an answer to that question.
I don't really have one either. I guess if there's a big gap, you can always try giving the less power gamer player something powerful, and that way you take their character from being a little suboptimal to being a little bit better. I think there's nothing wrong with that. And if your players are being dicks about that, you can tell them they're being dicks about it.
Hey, greetings from Denmark. Whoa.
Careful.
Whoa, careful.
This is an Icelandic channel.
You don't rule us anymore. What are the optional rules and house rules you guys use in your games? Okay, well, let me talk about the fact that the biggest change in our newest campaign is that we use insane resting rules. And Hjalti, if you're watching this, any wizards who are watching this, I just need you to brace yourselves. A short rest is 8 hours. Is the sleepy time. The sleepy time is a short rest. Long rests can only occur in a safe haven. And Daði decides what is a safe haven and what is not. And
if they're not in a safe haven, it takes them 3 days.
Yes.
3 short rests.
You need to take 3 short rests in the same place.
Yeah. This is in one of the 3 campaigns I'm currently running. This is not how I normally do it, but this is because I wanted this kind of hex exploration system. Hex crawl thing. And I'll probably do a video on why I run things like that eventually. But the idea being that I wanted to create this excursion feeling of leaving camp and then going back to camp. And that makes it so that you as the Dungeon Master can run those 8 combat encounters you're supposed to run in that time.
Yeah. Also, something we're doing, which I think this is a first for you also, is we have asynchronous leveling.
Yes.
So now...
In that one campaign.
In one campaign. These are not... The resting rules in this is not something that Daði does for everything. No. We're just trying it out in this kind of one long-form campaign we're doing. But, so... He did a bunch of solos for everyone. And in the first group session where we were all together, 2 of the characters were level 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 of the characters were level 3. And 5 of the characters were level 2.
Yeah.
And
one of them was level 1.
Yeah, one of them was level 1. And as of last session, the level 1 character is level 2. And I am now level 3. Subclass achieved.
Nice. Hey, where are you from? Aaron Piercy asks.
Aaron Piercy asks, where's AB from? Yes, okay. Is she Icelandic because her English is super colloquial? So my dad is American. I was born in California, and then moved to Iceland, and then moved back to the US, and now I'm back to Iceland.
Your mother is Icelandic.
Yeah, sorry, my mother is Icelandic. So I'm half American, half Icelandic. And so, I picked up colloquialism from where I lived in the US. I also went to college there.
Old Dev Bless is adding to a thing we were saying earlier, talking about getting nerdy people who are a little bit nerdy to be more nerdy by playing D&D is if you're chill and able to present D&D as not so nerdy, you can bring people who aren't nerdy into it.
Yes. Make other people nerds.
Yes.
Excuse me.
Hang on, we got clipped back down to the bottom every now and again. Stand by. Actually, no, we are.
You're just scrolling really far, though.
Yeah, we are actually just almost at the bottom. He did a voice.
In a post-session
Yeah, the mic.
Sorry.
Yeah.
In a post-session or post-campaign wrap-up, what things from behind the screen do you reveal and what do you keep secret? That depends on, like...
How long it is.
Yeah, how long it is.
Sometimes, if it's a short adventure, I sort of go into all the various things. Once we're done with a long campaign, I don't... The only things I keep secret are things I'm planning to run in a future campaign. So Vecna made a bunch of appearances in a previous campaign I ran, and I wouldn't answer any questions about that because I'm going to run it in the campaign I'm running for EP.
Philip Gallus asks, are you guys from Iceland?
Yes.
That is, we're both Icelandic. I just said I'm half American, so I spent some time in the US, but we both live in Iceland and are there right now. Do you have suggestions for balancing encounters, especially with bosses, for me to avoid fudging dice? You're allowed to fudge dice.
Ooh, careful. Now they're gonna come for us. Now they're gonna come.
If you want to.
I don't know. You can. So the CR system is tough if you're gonna try and have one boss represent.
Sorry, I'm just kind of warm. I was looking for the
Oh, I see. The CR system is a little bit rough for that, but you're going to have to sort of develop your own...
Sorry.
Oh, she's moving.
I'm sorry, I'll be right back.
You're going to have to develop your own sort of sense for that. I don't really know that I have good advice for it, but if you're in trouble, you can always adjust things on the fly as well. Spoilers for an upcoming video.
Open the window.
Windows being opened.
It's really warm in here.
It is. It is very warm in here.
The radiator's on.
You're running 3 campaigns, or all 3 campaigns in D&D 5e you're running any other system. They're all in 5e. And I was talking to a fellow creator. I was talking to Lunatic Dice today. He's running, I think, 8+ games every week.
That's insane behavior.
Yes. You're a crazy person. You're a lunatic.
With dice.
In a dungeon... how do you encourage exploration without letting your players take all the time they want to search rooms, pick locks? You got to use random encounters. If they're spending forever in there, and then you're kind of a victim at whatever they want to be doing. And the only way you can get out of that situation is make them the victim.
Yeah. So if your players are Lantern PC just donated $10. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
But also if your players are spending a lot of time doing something, like Daði says, like, you can let them do it, just punish them. If they're in a dungeon, make the kobolds that, are patrolling, they show up.
Yeah.
Or if they're, doing something in a time crunch, make there be consequences to their actions.
Yeah.
Show them they have agency. If they're going to pour all their resources into this one thing, something else happens.
And you can telegraph this ahead of time by showing that the dungeon is moving and alive and sort of seeding that into it. And that way you turn it into a game for your players. Your players are then able to, in that situation, think, do we want to spend more time on this and risk a random encounter? Or are we okay to move on? And then you've done a little game out of it.
Personal question. How long have you two been together, and how many times have you killed one another in a game? Well, so I have only DM'd... Oh, sorry, I think I'm screaming.
Yeah.
I apologize. I can be loud. So I have only DM'd for Daði once, and I didn't kill him. Daði has DM'd for me now since 2022.
Yes.
And I believe Nemea is the only one you've ever... massive damage killed me.
Yes.
I've gone down a bunch of times, but I've never had a character die. But we've been together since 2023.
Yeah.
Yeah, early 2023.
We're about to celebrate our second year together soon.
Yes. Our anniversary is on Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Another greetings from Denmark. I might have missed your answer. This is Henrik Christensen. Do you have any tips for a long-time DM who wants to show his work?
And or work with it.
Oh, you mean like in a professional setting? I'm gonna decide that's what you mean because I have a story for that. So I got my job in video games based off of that. I was applying to be a writer and a director at a video game company, and I in the application I had a short film I'd made about Dungeons and Dragons, and I mentioned that I have a massive campaign setting, and we talked about D&D for 2 hours, and that was my future boss, and his name is Magnus, and he's in chat right now talking with us about everything else. Emily Avalon asks, my girlfriend thinks you look like Cillian Murphy. Are you secretly Irish?
Oh, thanks. Cillian Murphy's so hot.
Stop it. Are you secretly Irish? No. I don't think so.
Love your work and videos.
Lunatic Dice says he doesn't sleep.
Oh.
That answers it. Thank you.
Yes. Marcus Jagerston says, love your work and videos. Will you do a video on how to draw maps? We do have a video on how to do battle maps.
But he says your wallpaper map is super nice. I will eventually, one day, open up Photoshop and show you guys how we made that map.
Yeah. For now, we have the battle map video, and we have one about ProcGen Arcana, which is like smaller map generators.
I lost where we were. Here we are, regarding...
Hard to balance and counter... Oh, wait, no.
Sorry.
Here, just let me do the scrolling.
There's also some members' questions we never got to.
Oh, are there?
Yeah, a couple. I wanted to answer one from everybody, and then chat was going insane, so...
Oh, yeah. What is a good way for show, don't tell for world building?
At the risk of starting another hot take, I don't think show, don't tell is as bad as people say it is. You can do a bit of both. To quote a Matt Colville video, there's when Han Solo is talking about the Millennium Falcon, he's telling, not showing, but we all like it.
Here's a question from Ace.
Oh, that's Ace.
who I used to work with and currently works with Daði. Was there ever a player character you were very happy about killing?
Or unhappy.
Or unhappy you were not able to kill?
I've killed our mutual friend Oscar in every campaign I've run for him, and I'm always unhappy because I feel like I'm being so mean to him.
Poor Oscar.
I don't know if there's anybody I've been happy about getting.
No, because no. I think also that kind of question, like, I understand it's a joke, but I think it, like, no one in our play group, it's never like an antagonistic relationship. That is never out to kill us. We're not out to beat Daði. We're just telling a story together.
Yeah. Icelandic anti-Denmark noises.
How do you use puzzles and riddles with monsters like sphinxes and hags that encourage those themes? Says KL.
I don't think I've ever done that successfully.
There you have it.
No.
I've seen a hag once in Octavia.
Yeah, and I just had her sort of attack you.
She grabbed my horn.
Bad DMing. I'll get better at it, I promise.
Question from Old Dev Bless. Do you want to swap to terrain at any point, or do you like sticking to maps?
Every time I go to our friendly local game store, they have a bunch of stacks of terrain, and I look at it, and I imagine a world where I own a bunch of terrain. And then I look at the price tag, and I imagine another world.
It costs... It's so expensive. If you guys want to give us terrain, we'll use it.
Hey, somebody just joined. T-Villain, thank you so much for joining the channel. Biomeditator asks, I'm trying to picture a wizard and what intelligence and spellcasting is.
What's your lore or thoughts about how you visualize a wizard doing it?
Doing it.
Well, you've had... I mean, I don't know, I just think about, like, the Arthusian University. Like, you tend to have wizards as, like, they are instructed, they are highly educated.
Yeah, very typical lore. They go to school, they have to learn it. The school is probably expensive, which means they're probably rich kids. And I like the idea of the component pouch, so I often describe wizards getting components and using them. I have a lot of fun looking at what components are related to spells and describing it. For instance, there was a wizard, Derek Hawley, and he had a coin that he would spin to cast Read Thoughts, and as a prop, I just had this coin, and I was always spinning it around and
Oh my
playing
god,
with it.
Lunatic Dice, stop! They have given us $10. Gremlin voice reveal at 50k subs. Listen, I'm on your team, okay? I want the Gremlin voice. I want it. Again, I stop trying.
I think you were happy to kill about killing a certain 9 hit point level 3 wizard in Curse of Strahd. You're correct. A player character dumped Con. They put a huge penalty into Con, and then they were a wizard. And I thought, listen, this isn't gonna last. Let me just tear off the band-aid while Strahd is here. So Strahd showed up and killed him.
Question from Furious Dan. When a player has a terrible string of bad dice, how do you keep the game fun for them and renew their sense of agency?
I make a sad face, and I say, I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
and then I just carry on.
He doesn't really, he doesn't really kiss the boo-boo and make it go better. We just kind of keep trucking, and sometimes it sucks.
Yeah, that's how it be.
In that session where he killed Magnus, I don't think we were in combat. I cannot tell you how many 5s I rolled. I rolled an inordinate number of 5s.
Yeah.
And I was so frustrated. But, when you play with dice, you gotta deal with randomness.
What's next?
Uh,
Rob says if we have a 3D printer, we can do terrain.
Well, we don't have a 3D printer.
We could steal one.
Oh my gosh! Whoa! T-Villain
gifted a bunch of memberships.
Yes!
Thank you so much.
Thank you, T-Villain. Oh my gosh.
Listen, now's a good time for me to say, if you are a channel member, you get access to our exclusive channel member Discord.
Actually, we should probably be on...
I'm on that here.
Okay, sorry.
So it's there, and then up there.
I see.
Yeah.
Just in case they're posting questions.
And if you are a member, you get access to our Discord. And on the Discord, I'll often post pictures from the games I'm running or whatever else we're up to. And we are all very active on there, and so are all our players. So even if we can't answer a question, somebody else might be able to.
A question from the Doctor.
Doctor.
Do you have any advice on how to encourage players who want to learn more about DMing? Obviously, I send them our videos.
Excellent. Start there.
Yes. But do you ever let your players DM one-offs?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. If somebody wants to run, you as the DM kind of have a little bit of a duty, I think, to make sure that you step aside on occasion and let somebody else run. Or if somebody expresses interest, give them a go.
Yeah. Daði is always very supportive of anyone who ever even mentions vaguely, I have thought about DMing. He's always like, oh, I could lend you this book, I could lend you this adventure, I could lend you minis, I could lend you my house, I could lend you my money. Like, maybe not the money.
I've several times somebody's mentioned wanting to run a campaign, and I'll just grab a book off the bookshelf and I'll ask them about their vibes. Or I know somebody's interested in a certain kind of. So Salka, for instance, one of our players, talked a lot about how she liked Humblewood, the setting, and I just handed her my copy and sent her home with it. And later on, I got to play D&D. That's how you do it. What's your favorite monster you've ever run? Ardent the Bibliophile asks a question. There's an acronym at the end that I do not understand.
Oh my god.
The favorite monster I've ever run?
AHTSM? I have no idea what that means.
Beholders are a lot of fun. I love mind flayers. Kobolds. Kobolds, I can do silly voices when I run kobolds, so that's a lot of fun. I think the best time I've had running a monster, though, was when I ran the end boss for our 6-year level 1 to 20 campaign. The end boss was the Invincible Overlord, because I am so creative, I just stole it from Matt Colville and then told my players it was my idea. And they fought him, and they won, and in the interim I had to invent the stat block for that guy, and that was insane. Oh, I ran Tiamat also, because we had that huge Tiamat mini.
Yes.
And that was a lot of fun.
Tiamat's scary.
Yes.
How many combat encounters do you normally have between long rests?
I'm trying my best to get to like 3-ish maybe 4. That's the new standard I'm working towards. I used to do just about 1 per long rest until a year ago, and I found that if you run a few more, the system as a whole becomes better and everything makes a little bit more sense.
Question: what's your favorite monster?
Yeah, again, I think it's got to be the beholder. You can do silly voices on a beholder.
For me, I'm a big water fan.
You do like water.
I really love water themes, water levels, the beach. So Triton, I know it's not like technically a monster, it's like a player base. Obsessed with, Triton, sea elves, Kuatoa, right?
Oh, Kuatoa are awesome.
Those are the little guys that make their gods.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
They were in Baldur's Gate.
They're amazing.
Yes.
They look so goofy. How do you structure your notes and graphs to plot the next moves of the factions in an interesting way?
It's in here.
Yeah.
It's in the brain.
I wish I had a good thing. I try and figure out what the factions want, and then as the adventure goes along, I've got a little ticking timer in my head that I can't really describe, where I go, well, we haven't heard from so-and-so in a while, so let's see what they're up to. Thanks for asking, Philip.
Do you use any type of software to keep world lore? Yes,
Obsidian.
Daði uses Obsidian. Thoughts on minis and terrain markers and mats detracting from roleplay?
Oh,
this is the thing where we're like,
yeah.
Get the minis out of here.
If we've done a fight, and I've drawn the whole thing, and then everyone's got their minis on there, and then the fight's over, and then somebody says, I walk over to the monster, and I walk over to talk to Jimmy, and we take all the minis off the table.
Get it out of here.
Get it out of here.
How do I get to the Discord? So, for anyone that was gifted a membership during the stream, or if you're just joining...
Thanks, T-Villain.
Thank you, T-Villain.
And
others. You need to connect your YouTube account to your Discord account. Some people have had a little trouble, but basically turn it off and turn it back on again.
Yeah, or reconnect and unconnect, and if there's still time, it might be just that the integration hasn't done a sync in a while. If you just wait a bit, it'll eventually pop up.
Yeah, the integration syncs, and we also have the ability to manually sync, so when this live stream is over, we'll probably do a sync, and, we'll be in touch, but basically connect YouTube to Discord.
Favorite D&D tubers: Matt Colville, Professor Dungeon Master, Ginny D. They're all amazing. They're all incredible. This is a huge community of people who are all making incredible stuff, and I just love being on there.
I'm from the future. This guy has 1.3 million subs.
Man, I must be like 90.
All right. Question. Oh, you just answered that. All hail the screaming Ardent. I need you to stop. We mentioned the screaming mass once. Twice. You've created a real life cultist.
Yes, he's ardent. He's an ardent cultist.
DJ 4.0. Do you speak Icelandic? And if so, do you use it in games? What in-game language would or does it? Okay, so yeah. we both speak Icelandic. I can't talk.
All the players in my group speak Icelandic.
We speak in English in games, though.
Yes, we run the game in English. We find it a bit awkward to roleplay in Icelandic. But if for any reason I am running giants, they all speak Icelandic.
Yes.
And then there's like the people who live near the giants, the Castarian people, they all speak with Icelandic voices.
Yeah, giant is like old Icelandic. Ace just became a mystic novice. Ace, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ace.
Miss you.
Where's your accent from? I'm Icelandic.
I'm Icelandic American. Have you had any sort of mind dungeons in the past?
How did you two manage to make it unique and different from normal real-world combat? You mean like you fight in a dream or something like that? Yeah. I've never run it as a dungeon, though.
Some mind goblins.
No mind goblins. No.
Question.
See, it just happens.
You know what?
It's not me.
You're right.
It's
You're right. Question. How can a DM roleplay a villain who is much smarter than them? An illithid or lich, who will be much better at anticipating players than I am.
If you're running on a VTT or on D&D Beyond, go look at your player stat blocks and find their weak stats and then exploit it. if you want some kind of mechanic for this, you can decide that NPCs have reactions that prompt when something happens, and then you can use that to sort of simulate that they knew that was going to happen. They can have traps or whatever set in place. Yeah.
The doctor asked, do you ever watch Pointy Hat?
Yes,
yeah.
Pointy Hat's amazing. I ran, I ran a Pointy Hat adventure.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, remember the butterfly queen, the pleasantry queen who stole all the kids?
She stole my best friend's younger sister.
I saw that adventure from Pointy Hat, and I decided that I was going to make AB really, really like this 8-year-old in game, so that I could steal her later.
She was a cute little sister. I loved her.
Yeah.
Currently she's alive.
Also, we on regular occasion, because your character is a tiefling, Yugoloth tiefling.
Yes. Oh my god. Yes.
That's a Pointy Hat.
Yes. Pointy Hat made a video about the new tieflings. And yes, I have Octavia. I made her a Yugoloth for necrotic damage resistance because the whole Shadowfell thing. So every once in a while, we'll just go Yugoloth enjoyers.
And it's just the two of us.
Because he did the meme with like the guy DJing at the top of the building and like 2 people dancing at the bottom.
That guy's hilarious.
Enjoyers. Love Pointy Hat.
Any thoughts on how to be a great GM ending his channel? That dude has been doing this for ages. He's leaving behind an incredible legacy. And it's kind of tragic when this kind of thing happens, because YouTube ghost channels are a real thing. Yeah. Question, is a new DM doing 2-hour sessions? Wow. I've never run a 2-hour session. Well, I have. I once ran a 2-hour session. It's because I TPK'd everyone. 2
hours is short in our world.
Having a hard time of keeping track of everything between 2 sessions. Do you have advice to remember all the stuff? You got to write it down. Only cure. I write down a lot of prep before I run, and as I'm running, I keep a little bullet point of all the things that happen. And I make sure to just type along, and then when the next session comes around, I read my entire document from last time, and then write my next one.
How do you name things? I'm a first-time DM, and I have ideas for characters and places. 100% honest, I've been using ChatGPT to help me name my D&D characters for like over a year now.
Oh my god.
Like, and I don't mean like I type in what's my name and then I take the name that it gives me. I just mean I like the name Charlotte. What are names similar like this? What names have an equal number of syllables? I require a Spanish name that starts with T and ideally has this as a last name. So, like, I know AI is a hot button topic, but I think you can use it to do these, like, menial Google searches for you. Because I would just Google the same thing.
I've done this, and in the middle of a session, on every session, I have a tab open on fantasynamegenerators.com, and Emily, who runs that site, is amazing.
Yes.
You can find a name generator for literally anything you can think of. Have you ever watched Jackson Crawford? Yes. His pronunciation of Icelandic is kind of deeply incredible. I've never heard an American that good at that thing, but he's a professional, so. See, it just clips.
What books would you recommend for writing better stories that would help you write better adventures and campaigns? Says Mitchell Tharp.
Justin Alexander's So You Want to Be a Great DM is an excellent place to start. Sly Flourish's Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master. And I think the new DMG is not bad at it. Other than that, I would also just suggest you look at story structure. Aristotle's Poetics, or Save the Cat, or any of those things. Obviously, you're not going to be able to apply them one-to-one. Games aren't movies, but stories are stories. And Aristotle was telling you how to tell stories back in ancient Greece. I don't think we need to really invent the wheel on that one.
Have your players ever come across the deck of many things?
Yes.
Asks the doctor.
I've used the deck of many things twice. The second time I'm not going to talk too much about because my players are in this chat. But the first time was a long time ago, and it kind of shaped the entire an entire section of my world. The deck of many things created one of the major empires that has.
Wait, what did it create?
It's involved in Atroxian Empire. It's
really?
Yeah, it's a foundational part of it.
Huh.
It's a lot of fun. It's scary if you're not prepared to have your campaign tell you where it's going, and you just have to be a passenger for a bit. Maybe don't. But if you wanna, have a little challenge, you can do that.
If you have strong opinions about player agency, don't put the deck of many things in your campaign.
No. Stereotypes of Icelandic TTRPG players. Are any of them true? Says Aaron Piercy. I don't know that players are that different across cultures. I haven't experienced many other cultures though, so I might just be ignorant on this.
I've played with people from various countries and there is no difference. Except in their accents.
Yes, we all have accents.
Yes.
Can
you speak about 2nd edition AD&D? Says Xena is the business.
It is the edition that came after the first edition of D&D.
2 comes after 1.
Yes, but the first edition is not the first edition. Somebody will probably correct me on that. I haven't looked much at it. I have the 3 core rule books for it, and I do like looking at the Book of Artifacts. There is some weird stuff in there. And I have run, I think it's a 2nd edition adventure. I ran Night Below, basically right out of the book, and converted it to 5th edition on the spot. And that was a lot of fun. The main thing that blows my mind about AD&D is how many different kinds of dice rolls there are. Favorite way to build encounters? I look at monsters in the monster manual, and then I imagine fighting them.
You go, oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yoink.
I have a lot of fun going into... We have a huge cupboard of minis in here, and what I do is I'll go grab just some boxes. So the other day I was running a dungeon, and I thought there are going to be some undead in here. So I went into our undead mini box. Now this is the expensive solution, right? So if you don't own a bunch of boxes of minis, then this doesn't work. But what I do is I go open the box, and I go looking for what we have in there, and I get inspired. But you can do the same thing with a monster manual. I'm assuming somewhere you have a list of monsters. Go look at their arts. See if they tell you, if you look at the art, see if it tells you where it wants to be, and then you put it there.
Ever listen to Dark Dice Podcast?
Cool homebrew horror D&D campaign. No, I'm afraid I haven't. Harris says fantasy name generator is the GOAT. Correct.
It is the GOAT.
Emily rocks.
Kel asks, how many is too many people to run for in an 8-hour game session? Sweet spot sounds like 4 people, but 6 people probably the limit?
I think the most fun I've ever had running...
I like 5.
Yeah?
5 is a good number.
Most fun I've ever had running is probably about 3 or 2. But...
you do like 2.
I do like 2. But... my group is 7 players typically, and that's because there are too many people I want to play D&D with, and I have to draw the line somewhere.
Jason Yu, welcome to the channel.
Welcome, Jason.
Thanks for being a member. Oh, really? It really just does do that.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
What on earth is the screaming mass thing?
My cans.
Oh, yeah.
Philip Gallus asks, has playing TTRPGs helped you in any way understand more about the people you're playing with, not the characters, or even yourselves?
Yes. Playing D&D with someone for a long time in a serious campaign is often a bit like being their therapist. And if if you're not already in a spot where you're sort of getting to know folks and the kind of things that make them tick, I don't know. Yes, I think you get to know people very intimately if you play with them a lot, especially what kind of stuff they like and what they don't like.
A few people have asked, will this Q&A be available to watch later? I think yes. We just have to edit out that one time I swore.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Question, what's the most important element of boss design for you? And can you talk about a boss encounter you've made and loved, or an idea you really want to run?
The boss has to be able to do stuff when it's not their turn, is basically the main thing. The Tiamat stat block that was in Monsters of Multiverse and Rise of Tiamat and Tome of Foes is pretty decent at this, and there's also in Fistbands. They've got legendary actions. They could breathe as a legendary action. They can do a whole bunch of stuff, and that way, when the players are going about doing their thing, the monster's got a whole list of stuff it can do to challenge them intermittently. That's usually what makes me excited to run a monster.
Garrett Brand asks, what's your take on monotheistic versus polytheistic settings? Well, our current setting is polytheistic.
Yes, it's both. There are two competing religions. One of them is polytheistic and one of them is monotheistic.
Yes.
Which I suppose means they're both polytheistic.
I guess just like canonically there are multiple gods.
Yes.
How do you keep track of initiative? We have initiative trackers that we, like physical initiative trackers that we hang...
Take these cards.
On the... I can just get the...
You can, yeah.
Let me go get some.
Because she drew on them. We put them in the
draw.
video. They're in the DM table video. You can go check that out. But Avi's gonna get them. Vox Colina says, "Congrats on the 20K. Thank you so much. It's been an incredible journey. I remember telling people that we were gonna upload videos for 2 months, and then when we realized they only got 300 views, we were gonna go do something else. But something else happened. The world had other plans." How do you handle more? Any advice on how to handle more people? Can having players drop in and out work in a satisfying way? Yeah, you can do guests. I've run on occasion situations where I'm running for a certain number of people, and then I really want to play with somebody, so I invite them along, and they make a character, and they play for a few sessions, and then they duck out.
So about the initiative trackers, so players green, enemies red. Oh, these look funky in the...
Yeah, the light's blowing them out.
Oh, sorry. So there's one...
If you hold them further back, they might... Oh, but then obviously...
It's the blur also.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one says friend, right? So if we ever get an NPC that we run into, and then I did like... I'll just show mine. So I did like a headshot. Oh, that's really hard to see.
Yeah.
So basically there's these cardboard things. So here's player facing, like a little picture of the character. And on the back, there's also for Daði, and it just like sits on the DM screen, and then we just line them up.
And the reason they are this thickness is just because that is how thick our DM screen is.
It's made of wood.
It's made of wood. So the only thing we do is we grab these cards when we make them, and we put them on the DM screen, and then we fold them around the DM screen, and then we have the shape of it.
And so then there's enemy ones, and they're labeled like 1, 2, 3, 4. So if there's multiple groups or things, it's really easy to make on the go, and I love them.
Any advice on how to shorten a campaign effectively? I'm currently running on a campaign that would ideally last around 10 sessions, but I'm going to have to shorten it to 3 or 4. The Brandon Sanderson question, Magnus sent it to me. Listen, Magnus has some serious opinions on Brandon Sanderson.
Oh my god.
I have no opinions on Brandon Sanderson.
We got him a the boys got him a Brandon Sanderson cake for his
bachelor party.
It was hilarious.
It was huge. Yeah, shortening campaigns, it should last 10 sessions. It's going to have to last 3 or 4. If you have a mini boss, you could decide to make them the end boss. If, however, you are okay with just bringing your end boss forward, having the end boss go find the players and see what they're up to, and then go bash their faces in, there you go. What is your greatest weakness as a DM, and what do you plan to do to get better? I don't think I'm... that's Tyler Thornston asking. Hang on. Who asked the other one? Arthur Berger. Hi. Tyler asks, greatest weakness as DM. I think I get fairly irritable. I'd like to get not as irritable. Sometimes I
when do you get irritable?
When I'm running the game. I get so anxious and stressed.
Oh,
I get a little nervous about if I snap at somebody. But I'm, if you find your weakness as a DM, what you have to do is you have to make sure that you communicate that to your players, and when you're having issues, you go apologize. You have to, tell them that that's not okay.
So I'm just looking at all the people trickling into our Discord.
It's kind of insane right now. how did you two get into D&D? AB already answered that question, but she started playing online.
Yeah, I started playing. Oh my god, it was 20. I was in college, so 2016.
Yeah.
2015. I was listening to the Adventure Zone podcast, the first season of that. So whenever that was airing, that's when I started.
I saw the Yogg's Quest adventure, and I thought the first one, and I thought that's really cool. Let's do that, and we bought Pathfinder.
Welcome, Ollie. Welcome to the channel.
Ollie, welcome to the channel. I started DMing for the first time with 6 players a couple of months ago, and Mystic Arts was a huge help in that. Thank you very much. Thank you, Michael. Mikhail.
Reddit asks, do you think there's any good way to run a campaign where you have 4 to 8 people and people can sub in and out each session, depending on who's available? That sounds like West Marches.
Yeah. Hang on, I'm gonna mod Magnus just real quick.
Magnus, you have been knighted.
You can run a West Marches game. Have people show up. You basically get an excuse for there to be a bunch of adventurers in a town. You say this town is a frontier town and it's full of adventurers. You are from this town, and then you run adventures. You run them in the wilderness next to the town, and people go back and forth. And there you go. You can do that.
The Discord is available for members. Someone was asking where it is. If you become a member, you will get access to the Discord.
Yes. Do you ever homebrew new spells into existence? I have done it, and the balance was bad, and I banned it. I have also wrote a conversion for the Book of Vile Darknesses spell list, and
What?
Magnus is complaining. He paid to make his name green, and now it's blue.
Sorry, we can unmod you.
Yeah, we can take it away.
Oh, the doctor. Welcome the doctor. We'd love to have the doctor with us.
Doctor. I was saying something.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I have no idea what I was saying.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Did we answer all the questions that the members had submitted on the
Let's have a look at that. So that's over here.
On the Discord?
On the Discord. And here. And can you scroll up a bit?
Did you do like a check mark? Or?
No, I just... Hang on. I didn't answer these two.
Okay.
I think that's it. Just 2 questions from Rob.
Oh, we can answer them. Rob Human asks, what are your thoughts on psionics, both in as far as its use in a fantasy setting in general, and in D&D in particular?
I love the idea of different species having different kinds of magic. We have a lot of fun describing mind flayers and stuff, casting without using any components or anything like that. I've seen several different systems for making psionics different from spellcasting, and I've never really fallen in love with any of them. But if I were to, I'd use it.
And then Rob also asks, this is for both of us, not just Daði, what are each of your favorite games that isn't a tabletop role-playing game?
I'm currently playing Red Dead for the first time. Red Dead 2.
Red Dead 2.
That's a lot of fun. I get to be a cowboy and do hunting.
For me, I'm a big deck builder fan. I love card games, so anything that has like a card engine, I go crazy for. Like board games like Clank, or more like engine builders like Wingspan. I'm a very big like video game nerd as well. RPGs, Mass Effect 2 owns my entire heart. The Dragon Age franchise owns my heart. I have very mixed feelings about the newest Dragon Age game, but I'm just gonna pretend that one doesn't exist. Yeah.
I was talking about Vile Darkness.
Yes, you were.
I converted. I took a look at that spell list and I converted about 70 of them to 5th edition, and then I gave one of my players, the Book of Vile Darkness, and he could cast spells out of that book. That seemed to be a lot of fun for him. Yeah, I don't really have a lot to say on that. I think my issue with spell balance typically comes along when anybody can pick it. But if I tie it to something and I say this one thing can do this one spell, then I usually am okay with it because it's a special magic item thing. I think we're probably getting to the end of the stream.
Yes. Oh, it's midnight here. So, yeah, I think this is an official announcement. I think we're going to be wrapping up soon. So
get your questions in.
Get your burning questions in soon. I don't think we're going to answer that one.
No.
West Marches, blah, blah, blah. Yes, we did pay for Maki's pizza. What's your favorite type of creature, and why is it ooze?
Ooh, I ran Dweeblex once.
Says Samuel Daly.
That was a lot of fun.
Alright, Inigo Silvetti, I think, is a bit late to the party. Do you have your own world that you run your adventures on? Yes, all of Daði's games are in Orathon, his homebrew setting. And if he ever runs anything tied with modules, he just kind of shoves them into homebrew. So we play homebrew, all our stuff is homebrew.
The weirdest setting I have played in, I did run Strixhaven once, and I actually had quite a bit of fun with it. The adventure is not great, but I really like the setting of this sort of post-war enlightened society. That was a lot of fun.
It's a lot of like game and book stuff.
Yeah. Midnight, yes, Morpheus. We got to get you American folks, so we're doing this a little bit later.
Do you have any rules lawyers in your games? It's Magnus. The answer is Magnus.
Magnus is the rules lawyer. It's great. He advocates for both sides, so he's more like a rules judge, and that's fine by us.
I have learned from Magnus to basically beg for advantage.
Yes.
Or phrased differently, basically try to noodle my way into having advantage if I can make any sort of argument for it.
Which one of you is the dice goblin?
It's me. I am the dice goblin. I'll probably, I've been meaning to do so, put in the Discord a picture of my dice, because I love my dice.
My favorite die is the one I bought 10 years ago, and it still crits my players whenever I need it to. Can I eat a snack and turn into a gremlin?
He turns into a gremlin if he doesn't have a snack.
Yeah.
Question from John Scuba Steve Brown. I want to do many different NPCs, but want their personalities to vary. Since they're being funneled through one person, how do you handle this issue?
Posture. I really like if you're doing a little guy, you get small. If you are doing someone posh, you make sure to raise up your head and look down your nose at people. If you're doing someone who's sort of gruff, you lean over the table. You can do a lot of stuff with posture, and that way if you have many NPCs, and maybe you're not confident they all sound different. For instance, in a game I'm running right now, half of the characters have American accents, half of them have the same British accents. So what I do is I make sure that they all have different sort of positions that I try and adopt with them. And that way, even if I mess up the voice, people can usually tell who's talking. I think, at least. I haven't complained that much. Yeah. Based on how I am behaving.
Also, this is something I worried about a bit, just like from the player's perspective. Sometimes I'm like, all my characters are the same. I mean, ultimately, at the kernel of every character you play is a bit of you because you're the one playing, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Is there a song for chilling around a campfire in a tavern? Brian Davis's playlists have stuff for this. I use
Love you, Brian Davis.
Loads of other people have recommended other playlists in the comments of that video, and other people who make playlists. Go check them out. You don't have to check out Brian if you don't want, but I recommend him.
Snake3668, do you have dice separate from DMing and being a PC?
Yes. My player dice do not get to DM, and my DM dice do not get to play, because my DM dice know when I'm DMing, and they roll different. They roll in the DM's favor. I'm sorry, this is how the stream ends. I was running an adventure where we were fighting the heroes. I was the DM, but the heroes were fighting a Bodak and a zombie beholder. And I had one of my oldest dice. I bought them 10 years ago, and I was rolling with it, and I crit a player 3 times in a row with it. And the player got mad, This is my boss Fredrik, by the way. Yeah, Freki was like, that is bullshit, and then he
Look, you're swearing.
who cares? he picks up the die and he says, I'm gonna roll it now, and then he attacks the zombie beholder and fumbles, and everyone laughs, and then he picks up the die and he fumbles again, and everyone laughs, and I say, listen, it's a DM die, and then I roll for disintegrate on the beholder, and I crit. So that is the DM dice in a nutshell.
Yes.
I think that's it.
Yeah, I think so.
Brennan Lee Mulligan is awesome. I agree.
We love Brennan Lee Mulligan. Love you. Welcome Sketch Bond. Welcome to the channel.
Welcome. And thanks everybody for tuning in.
Yes,
thanks everybody who
so
subscribed.
Much for the questions, for the subs, for the donations. That's crazy.
That's
People
insane.
who donated money.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. If you want to know more, if you want to talk to other people like you, DJ 4.0, shout out. Yeah, but if you want to ask questions, if you want to have, ping us or whatever the heck, make sure to join our Discord. That's how you can get more interaction like this. This live stream was fun, so I definitely think we're going to do this again whenever we reach another milestone, or just if it's been a while, because this has been a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. It's also good for everybody to get to meet you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not as much on camera as Daði. But yeah, thank you guys. And I think, as we say in Icelandic, góða nótt.
Góða nótt.